Let's talk about Mr. Beast for a second. Now, this has not been something that I've been really keeping my eyes to. I think there's a lot of better people to have been covering this, but it's still important nonetheless. This is currently an ongoing situation. Not all of the details are really out, but a lot has been coming out about Mr. Beast. You have what happened with Ava Chris Tyson like a couple weeks ago, but more stuff has mainly come out on terms of the production side, not just in regards to one member. In this article here, they point out that there was some stuff going on behind the scenes when it came to the Beast games, which was supposed to be like Mr. Beast's equivalent to the Squid Games. So in this little article here, they talk about what happened with Ava Tyson, but then they go into the Beast games portion of it. In the following days, Donaldson, aka Mr. Beast, was criticized over reports that contestants on his upcoming Amazon Prime Video reality show Beast Games, which began shooting in Las Vegas last month, were subjected to unsafe conditions. Beast Games was ordered to series in March. It promised a winner a cash prize of $5 million, the biggest single prize in the history of television and streaming, according to a news release from Amazon MGM Studios. 1,000 contestants, yada yada yada. But behind the scenes, the high stakes production appeared to encounter some setbacks. Rosanna Penzino, a YouTuber who previously competed in Mr. Beast's Creator Game series, made various X posts on July 26, claiming the contestants reached out to her to allege there were hospitalization, sleep deprivation, lack of medication, and lack of food on set. Safety concerns were initially reported by the news outlet Vital Vegas on July 18th. The New York Times, which interviewed a dozen anonymous contestants, reported on August 2nd that contestants sustained injuries and had inadequate access to food and medical care. A spokesperson for Mr. Beast said in an email that the shoot was unfortunately complicated by the CrowdStrike incident, extreme weather, and other unexpected logistical and communications issues, which we are currently reviewing. The spokesperson added that virtually all participants who were invited to proceed in the upcoming Toronto shoot had enthusiastically accepted. I mean, that doesn't mean that once they got there, it wasn't going to be, peachy. Like, they probably thought it was going to be fine, but then, shit on set just didn't really work out. Like, I don't get putting in, like, oh yeah, they were enthusiastic to accept, but yeah, I bet they were. Like, this is a great opportunity, but that doesn't mean that, like, they were going to be fine with any sort of conditions that were met on set. We have communicated directly with 97% of the 2,000 people who attended to ask for feedback, have launched a formal review of the process, and have taken steps to ensure that we learn from this experience, and we are excited to welcome hundreds of men and women to the world's largest game show in history. Amid the controversy between Tyson and Beast Games, Pansino had also called out Mr. Beast for an old clip that shows him discussing purchasing a black person and using a homophobic slur. This really goes back into kind of the history of Mr. Beast, where he, to put it lightly, would tell like pretty, edgelord jokes. I believe this was like during 2014. Yeah, I'm not condoning it. Like, I'm not, saying that it's fine, but at the same time, it's just what he said is obviously awful. A spokesperson said when Jimmy was a teenager, he acted like many kids and used inappropriate language while trying to be funny. Over the years, he has repeatedly apologized and has learned that increasing influence comes from increased responsibility to be more aware and more sensitive to the power of language. There's nothing really else. It just seems to be like kind of broad, at least from this article here, just broad accusations of poor conditions on set. But there has been more accusations since. We'll probably watch this clip from the H3 podcast, but there's also an entire video out from this guy named Dogpack where he interviewed a former Mr. Beast employee who really talked about the horrible experiences he endured on the Mr. Beast set, and it's just not a great look overall. The video itself is kind of weird.
Or young ones.
Because it's very much like a kind of old school content cop type video. Yeah, okay, this was the video that I was referring to. I had the wrong one. This is like a 3-part series that he plans on doing. Apparently there's going to be a third video that's going to come out maybe in a few weeks, from what I heard. But this is the one I was referring to. where he interviewed a former employee who really went into detail about like the horrible stuff that he went through, like very like poor working conditions, shit like that. I believe it was like solitary confinement. I'm gonna try to see if I can find it.
I thought that was the closest thing to YouTube and your image. And all the time, we're gonna have cameras on you all the time, and you're perfect for this because you never shut the fuck up. Finding solitary for whatever. It was
Oh,
one
there
of
we
those
go.
solitary confinement videos that got a lot of media attention because everybody saw the premise and thought, "What? You shouldn't do that." And people don't know that was the second attempt. The first attempt was on me, and it didn't go well. I was already planning on moving to New York, and I worked at a couple of YouTube companies after Beast, and I had a little bit of change in my pocket, the most change I had in my pocket ever. Small potatoes, compared to Beast bullshit, but I thought I had enough to move to New York or whatever. And I get a call from somebody over there, and they go, "Hey, they want you for a video." I was like, "Oh, amazing, great, cool, thank God." What's the video? And they tell me the pitch. And they try to make the pitch sound like it's gonna be like a walk in the park. The pitch is 100 days in solitary confinement, but don't worry, like you only have to last like 30. We have like a video. They're pitching it like at first it's gonna be like a luxury vacation. You're gonna have like a hot tub and an ice cream machine, and like part of the video is gonna be you deciding like what items am I gonna get rid of, today, and it's like the choice. They were like, it's only gonna be bad for me to last like 5 days tops when you have like nothing left. The first, it's gonna be like a breeze for most of it, and by the end of it, after 30 days, you're gonna get $300,000 because it's $10,000 a day. And I don't know, man. I grew up poor in North Carolina. I said, "Excuse me? I'll dance for you if you put that kind of money in my face, sure." They were like, "You're going to be locked in this room, and we got to make sure you're on all the time. We're going to have cameras on you all the time, and you're perfect for this because you never shut the fuck up." On paper, I was like, "Okay, I can do this." And they always cut me out of the videos. They always, and I was, editors had told me that it's because you have too much of a personality. And so with this video, I thought, this is perfect. It's a video they can't cut me out of. I'm the guy. And so I thought, well, if I have to do this, if I have to do solitary confinement in order to do the things I want to do, then I will do that. But I held my tongue and I swallowed my pride and I tried to do one last ride. And I get there. And at first it's fine. And they had just freshly painted the set. You could smell it, which that's probably not good, the smell of fresh paint in your surroundings for the next XYZ time. It looked good on the visual. It looks good on camera. It's movie magic bullshit. It was a terrible facility. It was in one of the studios. They had to get like a separate like tank for septic stuff. There was a hot tub in it. There was an ice cream machine. Like things were cool and funny on paper, but when you think.
Okay, so the reason why I was kind of looking
Mr. Beast messed up
something up is because a part of this whole story, and I believe Ludwig covers it in this video, so that's what I was kind of looking for. It was revealed that Mr. Beast also had someone working for him who was a predator or like was on the was a sex offender. But yeah, what the guy was saying is basically, okay, I think they actually talk about it in the video, so we'll just watch it there.
A hot tub that's not connected to a filtration system. Give it 3 days, it's gonna stink. If there's not a hot water mechanism, so the hot tub was a lukewarm tub at best, which I was a silly complaint, but the shower was always cold,
and just before we really get further into this, a lot of people were criticizing this guy because they were just like, "Oh, this just kind of feels fake. He just has a lot of energy there." This guy is a stand-up comedian apparently, so that's the reason. Like he just has that lively energy because that's just who he is. But it was a lot of criticism for more than likely Mr. Beast fans being like, he's just obviously faking this. He's putting on an act, like, or that's just what he is. Like that's like he's just an entertainer and he just carries that attitude with him.
Taking like a quick shower, and I had cameras 24/7 on me, and the ice cream machine. Let's talk about that for a second. The ice cream machine has two modes: on, and off, reeking of smelly dairy mildew. So I got to choose which sense was assaulted at a time. I couldn't have all of them good. So the little things started to build up. There was the bug thing wasn't like terrible, but it was a factor. And at first it was fine, and you're playing it up because it's a video. And
that's also a problem with this video a bit, is that like they go back, for the most part it's him talking, so the camera's focused on him, but like for little shots like there where it goes to this guy Dogpack, he's wearing like a cop uniform and it's just like this is supposed to be serious. Like, this is a guy literally expressing a lot of things, not just this. I'm just using this as like a big example of shit that he did, that Mr. Beast did wrong, which was subject this guy, because he'll get into it later. But like, we're in this cop uniform trying to do this whole like content cop style presentation. It makes this whole thing seem a lot less serious than it actually should be.
Oh, great! Want to know how they figured that one out? I didn't have it. One of the things was you got to take away your clocks. You didn't know what time it was. Okay, I got no access to sun. I got no access to clock. I don't know, like, the lights are on me all the time. I wasn't sleeping. I could not sleep. And I have insomnia problems now, but they might have started there. I had good people looking out for me. I had a lot of good people looking out for me saying, this we got to stop. So I just wanted to turn the lights off. And I'm vocalizing to people, I wish the lights would turn off. And I go up to my friend, my good friend. And I go, they're not turning the lights off. He goes, what? That's a war crime. We're not allowed to do that to terrorists.
Yeah. Yes, the United Nations considers sleep deprivation to be a form of torture and a war crime under the Geneva Convention. So, like, this isn't just, some drama. This isn't just, someone just airing out, their little grievances. This could potentially be very dangerous for Mr. Beast and the entire company. If, like, and here's the thing, this is all alleged. Nothing's really proven. This is just this guy telling his side of the story. But at the same time, like, this is still important. Like, this guy isn't just gonna risk his entire life to accuse Mr. Beast of this terrible shit for nothing. Like, that has to be taken into consideration, especially when Mr. Beast is now looking to get a full assessment of internal culture and allegations of impropriety, I believe, and unsafe acts. Like, he's really trying to look into this. And when this originally started to happen, I don't think many people thought that he was going to respond to any of this at all, because Mr. Beast is mostly someone who carries a child audience. He's honestly just kind of bigger than the content creator like sphere as a whole. Like, there are people from countries you will probably never visit in your life who have heard of Mr. Beast. Like, any country in the world, there is definitely one person there. There's probably even 10 people there who know who Mr. Beast is. He has become a brand. Like, he is huge now. So he doesn't need to necessarily respond to this when all of this is just kind of staying online. Like, I try to look for this stuff. I try to find articles regarding this whole situation. There really isn't much. Most of the stuff that I was able to find was covering, like, the Ava Chris Tyson ordeal. Not this. For the most part, people are just this is just kind of an online thing and nothing more. And again, we're not going to get into this entire video. I would recommend you watch it yourself. There are other people who covered this who are probably way more knowledgeable about this than I am. But, like, as someone who did watch the video, this is just one aspect of it. We'll get into the sex offender who got hired as well.
Hear about sexual misconduct at the company. I've heard rumors. I can't confirm or deny anything. I don't have any tangible evidence, but I've heard stuff that if it could be investigated, that'd be great. But it's like water cooler talk. But I've heard things, yes, of course. I heard, people have been let go for sexually assaulting some very young people. The idea that Jimmy didn't know, or that Jimmy was covering stuff up. He didn't want stuff to come out. He's very careful about his image. You have the tangible proof that he knew but covered it up. How do you prove that, Well, there was a known sex offender, registered sex offender, convicted sex offender, on the registry and everything, who worked there. And, like, you can, someone pees in public, you're on the registry, you get it.
Yeah, okay. When he was talking about that, I remember the name of the person, or at least the nickname. They called him Delaware. The reason why they called him Delaware, apparently, is because he's not allowed to go to Delaware, because I believe that's where he's registered. Jack Franklin, a longtime Mr. Beast collaborator who went by the moniker Jake the Viking, said Delaware is his brother-in-law. The allegations about Delaware first appeared in a video by Dogpack404, a former Mr. Beast employee now making videos calling out the widely popular creator for unethical practices. Jack Weddle, another former Mr. Beast employee, said in a video that Mr. Beast employed a known sex-registered sex offender at the company during his time there. So Dogpack is a former Mr. Beast employee. I was honestly not aware of that. I'll be honest. I've heard rumors. I can't confirm or deny anything. I don't have any tangible evidence, but I've heard stuff. Weddle said while images flashed on the screen of a man alleged to be Delaware in a Mr. Beast video, as well as pictures from an entry on a sex offender registry. And this is the brother-in-law in question, Jack Franklin, who apparently is also like a very big anti-trans person. But yeah, he essentially confirmed that Delaware was a sex offender. Okay, here's the truth. Yes, Delaware is my brother-in-law. Yes, he is a registered sex offender. When he was 21, a 16-year-old girl accused him and others of SA when she was 11. Delaware took a plea deal. That's why there was no jail time, but he still had to register. His nickname isn't Delaware because he can't go back to Delaware. He's from Delaware. That was the dumbest thing I ever heard. He's been back several times. Okay, so that was false. But still, it's still weird. He was hired before I was, and was actually the reason I got hired at Mr. Beast. Before being hired, Delaware sat down with Jimmy and Sue, Jimmy's mom, and explained to them everything. So yes, Jimmy knew. But again, this incident happened in 2010. Delaware was hired in 2017, 2018. Delaware was also let go from the company before I was. Delaware was supposed to be a behind-the-scenes manager, but in a couple videos, he was asked to partake because we needed people. He was reluctant, especially in the straitjacket video because of his charges, and that's why he wore the mask. Or he was trying to hide his face because, you know, people do dig. They do dig a lot. They will try to find any information they can. So eventually, he probably just didn't want his face out there, so they couldn't really put his, just in case they found out. Delaware's charges are set to be dropped this fall. Delaware has been nothing but a good person, an amazing husband to my sister. I don't know. It just seems like he's really trying to do everything to defend his brother-in-law here. But yeah, it's just, this person is apparently also incredibly disgusting. But yeah, so yeah, he did know that Delaware was a sex offender. So yeah, there's a lot of like different layers to this. Again, I would definitely watch this video, especially since a third video is apparently on the way. There's going to be a lot more to this. It's something to keep your eyes on. And again, all this stuff is alleged, but at the same time, it's really damning, all the stuff that's being said. And again, with the coworker, with the former coworker in question, with the former employee in question, there's no real reason for him to come out about this. Like, yeah, it's it's some eyes on him, but at the same time, the stuff that he's saying is really damning. Like, I don't think anyone would really come forward with this sort of stuff if they hadn't lived through this experience. Like, and just needed to speak on it. Like, this is some pretty gross, disgusting shit. And the way that they kind of been handling it, I'm gonna be honest, it's not a great look. I think them being like, no, we're gonna get a full assessment, doing like internal investigation, is not a great look. It just feels like, it feels like a way for them to try to, on the outside, seem like they're taking responsibility for things that have been done. But overall, that shit doesn't really lead anywhere most times. Like, it's mostly just kind of there for PR. Like, getting someone to actually investigate you, someone from outside the company, it would probably be a better move, but at the same time, it's just, I feel like this, I don't know. Again, this all is alleged. We'll just have to see where this goes, but it's not a great look.